That's a live shot from our Skycam in southeastern North Dakota, as some parts of the valley are getting it worse than others. We'll get you the very latest on what's happening now and what you can expect tomorrow morning, next on Valley News Live at 10.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. There's a noticeable glare on the interstates through the FM Metro tonight, and right now, if you take it easy, you'll be okay. But as the night goes on, and most likely by tomorrow morning, they are going to be slippery. Already, the on and off ramps are icy.
And here's a live look from our Skycam at the Dakota Magic Casino near Hankinson. Winds are blowing. The snow that's fallen is creating visibility problems. Dangerous conditions there. Let's get started by checking in with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson on what's going on. Hutch?
Well, that wind really driving the impacts of tonight's snow. It's moderate light at times, but it's causing a lot of concerns across the area. Now, our western neighbors in the western and central Dakota saw gusts to 60, even 90 plus miles per hour. And now there is, believe it or not, a grass fire that has closed down some roads down near the Hettinger area, as well as Mott and down towards Lemon, and has impacted a few activities in that area. For us, driving conditions are what we're concerned about tonight, as we've got snow continuing. There's a band in the central part of the Dakotas, a band here in the valley, and one out near Duluth. The Sisseton Hills has been picking up the most intense band of snowfall throughout the evening, and it looks like things are thinning out, but your hour-by-hour forecast, as I'll go over here in a little bit, shows we'll have a chance of snow through the overnight hours. Wind gusts are picking up now to 35 miles per hour in Fargo and Fergus Falls. I'll have hour-by-hour details on the continuation of our winter weather here in the valley and potential blizzard for some. I'll tell you where the biggest concerns are in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
Thank you, Valley News Live. This wouldn't have been possible without you guys. I'm eternally grateful. My whole family's very appreciative.
New tonight at 10, a Valley News Live whistleblower story ends with the accused paying up. A Moorhead woman saying that she was scammed out of hundreds of dollars. She says she bought a car and parts to get it fixed from a local dealership, promising to do the job. It wasn't until she talked to us 2 weeks later she finally got the goods. Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie shares her warning.
With 3 kids at home, the Kreps are always on the go.
I have to have a reliable vehicle for my kids' school and medical issues.
But what started as an exciting buy for Mom Tabitha quickly turned into a headache.
We noticed that the mirror was cracked and the check engine light was on, and Nash One told us that he would get those fixed.
Nash is the owner of Ameti Auto. Kreps says she paid him an additional $150 to replace the broken parts, but says she never got the goods.
They're telling me I do not get my money back for the parts that I paid for. They are not going to give me the parts, and they are not going to fix the vehicle.
It wasn't until after a Valley News Live whistleblower story, Nash called our station, saying he'd pay for another dealership to get the job done. But when the Kreps parked the Kia at Matt's Automotive, they learned it was going to take a whole lot more than $150.
I didn't expect $1,500. I about had a heart attack, and then I haven't slept for about a week, wondering if he's actually going to pay, and couldn't get my car back unless the bill got paid.
Tonight, the car is good as new back in the Kreps garage. Ameti Auto following through on their promise and paying the bill in full.
I'm happy.
Kreps says she's learned a few things. Get everything in writing and have a third party take a look at any car before you buy it. In Moorhead, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
Kreps adds that the auto shop still needs to send her the plates that she paid for, which should be in the mailbox tomorrow.
Tonight, an app helped lead to the arrest of the man who police say stole a pickup from an auto accessory shop in Fargo. Employees at Window Tint Pros say it was a little after noon when they noticed one of the company trucks was missing. They tell us a man broke through the back window and took off. A company tracking app showed them the truck was near Alexandria. They called police, who were able to find the truck. After about a 20-minute high-speed chase, police were able to stop the thief and take him into custody. Employees tell us without that app, the truck may have been long gone.
At that point, I checked the app to see where it was, and it was in Fergus Falls. So on the app, we can see the speed as well. So he was going over 100 miles an hour. They used the spikes multiple times.
The truck is still in the shop in Alexandria. The employee says there's no word on the damages.
Changes may be coming to the calendar for the Fargo Public School District. Tonight, focus groups made up of parents and community members discussed cutting hours. The district currently exceeds the minimum number of hours required per year. Options are a late start or early dismissal, one Wednesday a month. They're also discussing how to deal with future snow days, and whether makeup days should even be built into next year's calendar. The superintendent says the feedback from tonight will help district leaders make these decisions.
Just 1 month after the first COVID-19 vaccine in North Dakota was given, now a new chapter of hope in the fight against the coronavirus. Today, Sanford Health administered the first doses to the public, starting with those 75 and older.
We have the most wonderful scientists in our country. We are America, and everybody helps to take care of each other. And we will get through this. And I am so thankful to have gotten the shot.
Bakken told Valley News Live she was forced to retire from her position with West Fargo Schools back in October due to the pandemic. However, even at the age of 92, she says she will probably go back as a substitute teacher after she gets her second dose. Sanford says despite the CDC's new push for states to start vaccinating those 65 and older, they are focusing their efforts with high-risk patients over 75 until they receive more shipments of the two vaccines.
A New Year's resolution for many U.S. households, cutting cable. Many already did in 2020 and more are expected to do it this year. Valley News team Stacey Van Dyke is here to explain. Stacey?
Mike, during the pandemic, a lot of us have been looking for different ways to cut costs. One of the top ways people are finding, especially with increasing streaming options, is cutting cable. Last year, 15% of cable subscribers disconnected their service. In 2021, 27% of subscribers are expected to drop cable by the end of the year. 30% of people with cable say they keep it because of live sports. If you're considering cutting cable, you don't need to worry about losing us. You can buy an antenna to continue watching Valley News Live over the air. Mike?
Thanks, Stacey. And while many are cutting the service, the study also found that more than 50% of U.S. consumers would not spend more than $20 on streaming subscriptions.
Investigators now believe the storming of the U.S. Capitol may have been more than a spontaneous rally that got out of hand. That's according to a federal law enforcement official who says evidence suggests a level of planning behind these scenes last Wednesday. Among that evidence are indications that some people walked away early from a Trump rally that took place that morning so they could retrieve items used in the assault on the Capitol. Investigators are also looking into the command and control aspect of the attack, tracking down travel and communications records. On top of that, two law enforcement officials say the FBI has received tips that appear to show some lawmakers met with people who took part in the riot, but that doesn't mean those lawmakers are under investigation, according to the officials. A U.S. attorney in Washington says law enforcement is treating this incident like a counterterrorism or counterintelligence operation. The attack and the investigation are causing concern surrounding Joe Biden's inauguration. Federal law enforcement officials say domestic extremists may be prompted to strike after seeing the siege on the Capitol. Nadia Romero is in Washington with more on that investigation and the potential for violence.
Horror, confusion, and pain. Just some of the things lawmakers felt during the attempted coup at the U.S. Capitol.
I haven't seen a sight like that since I was in Iraq. In a war zone.
But now there's a new concern surrounding these images. Motivation. Law enforcement agencies warn the insurrection is potentially inspiring homegrown terrorists to carry out more attacks, both in Washington and around the country.
I would also be significantly concerned about some of these longer-term planning efforts amongst the Boogaloo Boys and other of these LARPers and cosplay seditionists hitting at not just state capitals and seats of power across the 50 states, but also infrastructure, hitting soft targets.
Already, prosecutors have charged dozens of people with federal crimes related to the Capitol chaos. Law enforcement expects to arrest hundreds more.
We saw the birth of a domestic terror movement last week, and we're going to have to deal with that in the months and years ahead.
President Trump urges calm.
Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country.
The chatter about copycat attacks has put federal and state officials on high alert.
They won't catch anyone by surprise this time. We know they're there. We know how violent they can be.
In response, thousands of armed National Guard troops surround Washington, D.C. Barriers block streets, and the iconic National Mall will be closed on Inauguration Day.
We are on the path to making sure that it is secure, and it is going to be secure.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
A Capitol police officer may be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Officer Eugene Goodman kept rioters out of the Senate chambers last week, luring them away from the unguarded chambers while lawmakers were debating. A bipartisan bill says Goodman was the only thing standing between the mob and the U.S. Senate, and his actions saved lives and defended democracy.
Still is taking the initiative to help protect others. We'll explain in our consumer news.
Wind for all, periods of snow for many. I'll have details on what you can expect for that morning commute coming up right after this.